David Castro. He's an author as well, and he has a very interesting book. It's called Understanding Supernatural Dreams, and I'm sure a lot of people would be interested in this, especially since it's according to the Bible, and this is
wow. So it's biblical.
It's biblical.
That's
it's biblical
awesome.
in nature, and I know, coming from the Caribbean, how important this is to a lot of religious people, because a lot of people, they really get their insight on how they approach life via the dreams that they have. And I was scrolling through this book a little, and I learned that there are different levels of dreams. So it's a very interesting piece.
And that remind me, since it's biblical, I think it was King Lear. It's one of the kings used to have one of the servants come in and try to interpret his dreams. So that should really
that was a
interesting.
big thing, and it's still a big thing now. Like
Absolutely.
you can't even say that it's superstitious or whatever, because
of
it
course,
has a lot
dreams,
of credence.
right?
You know, because you can sometimes talk or dream things into existence. And another thing is, how do you know?
True.
How do you know we're not dreaming now? When we're dreaming, that's the
that's
real
the
thing.
Matrix.
You know? Oh, that's what the Matrix is about.
The Matrix is about that, like a dream within a dream within a dream.
Oh, really?
And whether or not this world is really our reality.
You're the only person that's been able to explain that to me. Every time I sit and I try to watch the Matrix,
it's awesome.
I can't. I just. I can't.
Yeah,
I just don't get it. So you know, we have a special guest coming up. But
before that, I want to let people know we're out here at Hue-Man's Bookstore, and the address is 2319 Frederick Douglass Boulevard, right here in Harlem. It's on 125th and 8th Avenue, also known as Frederick Douglass Boulevard.
It's right beside the Magic Johnson movie theater.
Correct.
There's only one of those in Harlem.
That's true. But we wanted to first talk about Angel's book, Rise to Grace. As I said, we had the opportunity of having him on the platform before, and this brother's story is phenomenal. He was once a drug addict. I just want to hold the book up. He was once, a drug dealer, and he was selling drugs out in the street, and him and his partner got hooked up, and they were making mad money. You know the game. If you're from the neighborhood or if you're from the hood, you know the game. Called his partner over. His partner ended up shooting him, and what really inspired me, because our stories are so similar, to the fact where he got shot and fell in front of a church, and the people heard him in the church while they was praying, and they came out, and as he was telling me this, as I was interviewing him on the first time, chills just went through my body because because of how God, when He's ready for you, He's gonna intercede. He's gonna do something to stop you, to slow you down, for you to pay attention.
She.
Okay, you say God is a she, I say He's a he, so we're right on point.
Well, it's still S-H-E, so it's the same thing, just like man and Hue-Man. But if you notice, S-H-E, the he comes from the S-H-E, and just like
Paul,
Hue-Man,
I can't get into that with you. I cannot get into that.
We always got to get into something. We can't just,
again, we're here at Hue-Man's Bookstore. People are lining up to purchase Angel's story and read his book, and the energy is just flowing. Him and his wife is actually here, and I've had the opportunity to meet both of them, and they're absolutely adorable. I love his wife, and his family is here as well. So we're definitely going to have Angel on the forum a little bit later, but right now we would like to introduce to you David Castro. Come on in. How are you? Great. How are you today?
Pretty good.
Good. So we've Understanding Supernatural Dreams, according to the Bible, a living classic.
Thank you.
Tell us what that's about.
Yes. Well, Understanding Supernatural Dreams, according to the Bible, a living classic is my first title. I have 5 others. They're all available on Amazon Create Space. Go to my website, brooklynblessing.com. brooklynblessing.com.
brooklynblessings.com.
This book came about because even though my family, I was born and raised in Williamsburg as well, raised there, and my family tried to convert me to Christianity. I wouldn't hear it. I thought I was too intelligent, but I found myself wanting to study the Chinese art of Qigong.
Qigong. I could pronounce that, but I can't pronounce Angel's last name. Can you imagine? Qigong.
Yes.
What does that say? What does that mean?
It's the art of spiritual battle.
Okay.
That's it all.
Like a spiritual warfare?
Spiritual warfare, but it emphasizes the chi. So that's why the tiny ones, the tiny masters can topple gigantic ones. It's all because of the chi. So
is that like similar to David and Goliath? Slow down. We're not in a rush. Is that similar to like David and Goliath? David was so small and Goliath was like this big giant?
Tiny little David's chi was actually the Holy Ghost.
Okay.
So that was another show.
Okay.
But the Chi Kung that I went to study, there's a temple right behind Diamond Head in Honolulu, near Honolulu, Hawaii. So I was out there for like 10 months. That was my interest. Lo and behold, I cried out to God. I wanted to know if Jesus was real. So here I had an epiphany where the Shekinah glory of God, God himself visited me in that temple when I happened to be just meditating. I was hanging out alone in the temple. Shekinah glory visited me, and from that moment, I knew Jesus was Lord. From that moment onward, 32 and a half years later, I'm still on fire for God, still walking with Jesus and the Holy Ghost. And
woo! Thank you, Jesus.
Can move me or shake me from my walk with Him.
Now that comes from early perspective, because you were saying you didn't believe in Christianity,
I did not, yes.
right? And so you went on this pilgrimage, basically. I mean, that's what it is.
Well,
when
I
you
to study Chinese philosophy
and end up getting Jesus, isn't that one?
I ended up getting Jesus. Jesus said you can quit this and go back to Brooklyn.
Wow.
Yeah, so I came back to Brooklyn, started working in the post office. Here I am in my 20s, young, handsome, Puerto Rican with a job in Brooklyn, New York of A, okay? So, behold, here I am in the Williamsburg, Brooklyn projects.
Right.
And I did not ask, I did not know what was in store, but lo and behold, the ceiling of my bedroom began to open up, and I began to get heavenly visitations that I didn't ask for. People were not praying for me. I wasn't reading or studying about these things. I had no questions about these things. All I know is I'm a Christian with the Holy Ghost, Puerto Rican with a job, and that's all I know. But lo and behold, angels began to visit me. She kind of began to visit me. My mom is right there. I still live with her all these years. She could testify the dozens, no, the hundreds of times I would come out of my room. Mom, I had another vision. Mom, I had another trance. Mom, an angel visited me. And I'd be weeping, trying to tell her what God has revealed unto me. So out of these rich experiences became the scholar in me began to write some of these things. So then I not only got a large.
So let's reverse for a second. So when these angels came to visit, just slow down, because we want to ask questions, if you don't mind. So when the angels begin to come visit you, what was their mission? Like, what were some of the things they said or did, or what changed in you?
First and foremost, love and a melting of my heart. And the actual reality of this new walk with Jesus and this new interest in the Bible, the reality of it. It's not just now a religious thing that I'm a part of now, the reality of it. So then at times I would get a dream about our neighbor. Look, my nephew who was in another state and some of the things he's going through. I saved my family's lives on many occasions simply because God would show me a dream. I would call them and I say, run for your life from this individual. You got to do this.
You know what? That's amazing, because the same thing happened to me. No, absolutely. I've had a vision where my sister was going to have something dangerously was going to happen to her. And I called her, or she called me, and I said, Renee, I said, be careful. I said, because I had a dream about you. And it wasn't a good dream. And 2 days later, her apartment caught on fire, and my nephews were caught in that fire. Thank God they're fine. But if it had not been for me seeing that vision, I would have never been able to forewarn her.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So I can kind of understand. Is that what this book's about?
It deals with those. It speaks to those things.
Okay.
Absolutely. We all have those kinds of experiences, some more than others. Most don't understand or interpret them. And a lot of times those warnings are given from God simply because He loves us. When He visits us, He gives us a vision, a revelation, a message. It's not all the time trying to convert us and get us to join a religion.
Right.
Sometimes, yes, but He just wants to rescue us from these temporal evils.
So what is it? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Could I ask a question? How did you technically put this thing together? Like, what was your concept, and how did you put it together? Because I'm looking at it here, and I'm seeing it has so many structured, and it's very organized. And how long did it take for you to put it together? This looks like something a college student would have.
My
for a
first
course.
draft took less than a year, and that one blew away a couple of my friends that were scholars. 25 years later, with further polishing, I think it's the best out there. What has happened is that I began to realize this is something that everybody in the Bible experienced. From Genesis to Revelation, I have thousands of supernatural experiences. So I learned to scrutinize, to crystallize, and then to break down the dynamics of a supernatural experience, all according to the Bible.
Okay, I have another question for you.
This is our last question.
Another thing. So, what are you a part of a specific denomination, or what denomination are you from, like in the Christian faith?
When I began to go to the church, remember, these experiences and the articulation of these teachings began even before I became a church member. However, so these things came, more from God more than within the church world. But I joined up, the Lord led me into the denomination of the Pentecostalism. Yeah. But now after, going to college over the last 10 years, I got 2 master's degrees. I began a PhD program. The Lord kind of evolved me. So now I've become much more ecumenical, less dogmatic, less preaching at you, and just simply loving.
That's phenomenal, David. And we really appreciate you being here on the forum. Where can people find your work?
BrooklynBlessing.com, www.brooklynblessing.com. And I'm also doing a sci-fi series. The Lord has expanded me to do film, video, comedy, and to break out into more than just religious stuff.
You are awesome.
Well, that's around, girl. So that's absolutely wonderful. We want to thank you for being on the Urban Forum panel and platform. Please stop by anytime. Right. We'll have you on the show at another time.
Thank you.
Please don't forget my book. Could you leave that one right here?
Yeah. And sign it for us. Sure, Urban Forum.
I'll be here.
Thank you so much, David. Have a good day. Wonderful. All right, we're gonna take a break. Hey, Paul, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man.
I'm just Saturday. This is a special event for us.
It's so great to be a part of this phenomenal community.